Hi friends, this is Prem. Today we are going to discuss about the important update from USCIS. Yes, they have released the 2026 August visa bulletin, and you might have seen the dates because there is not much change for the India, and particularly for EB1 there is no change, and EB2 is unavailable. So what it does mean when the EB2 will be available again, and very important discussion we are going to do with Henry whether we can proceed I-485 if the chart shows U, that is unavailable. Say example, if anyone is having the prior date which is current under the final action date of EB2, but now it says U, whether the person can go for the I-485 or not. Rest of the world visa chart shows current for EB1 and EB2. So what we can expect for the October visa bulletin, which is Fiscal year 2027 first visa bulletin. Let's talk all the things with our attorney Henry. Is from Manifest, and Manifest is giving a free consultation for you. If you have any questions or any queries regarding visa or green card, you can use this barcode, scan it and schedule your visa appointment. It's completely free. Today USCIS released the very important visa bulletin, that is August 2026 visa bulletin, and we have only one more visa bulletin for this fiscal year 2026. And here we have Henry and we have questions with Henry. Before going to the video, வணக்கம் ஹென்றி, எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
நல்லா இருக்கேன், நீங்க?
Yeah, I'm good, Henry. Thank you. So, have you seen August 2026 visa bulletin?
Yes, it looks like not a lot have changed, but there are some changes. More important is that USCIS has not been accepting anything based on the dates of filing for employment, but the dates of filing is still used for family cases. So family cases seem to be having a better time on the visa bulletin right now compared to employment.
Most of our viewers are employment-based category. So for employment-based category, they have to file with the final action date.
Yes, correct. There's no change from the previous month on the EB1A dates. But when it comes to the EB2 is still unavailable, meaning they've already maxed out for the year. I think there's two reasons, right? We're nearing the end of the fiscal year, so a lot of the numbers have already been used up. So it's not likely that there's going to be any big changes with the EB2, for example, until the rest of the year. I think we're going to see a bigger jump again sometime in October or maybe November when the new year starts and the new visa numbers come in. But similarly to this year, remember we talked about the spillover from the family cases, and it took a long time before USCIS announced, hey, we have 40,000 more visa numbers for employment base. They didn't do it in October or November. They did it in the spring, right? So it was already like halfway through the year when they finally told us how many numbers they got from the family cases. So we're not going to know all of these details right there in October or November. But I think sometime in early 2027, we're going to find out how much is the spillover from the family-based numbers. I predict there's going to be a larger number for next year from the family cases because we have all of this IV, immigrant visa issue ban for 75 countries that has been slowing down how many people get immigrant visas in consulates. And that means that the government is just using up fewer visa numbers for the family cases. So maybe a bit of a jump in the fall. And then in the new year, again, we're going to see some big movement, I think. That's my sort of big picture prediction for next year.
Yeah, thank you. EB2 became unavailable, right, till this fiscal year?
Correct. I just put in the mail today an EB1A based adjustment of status case for somebody who has an old priority date from 2018. So under the visa bulletin, they are current, so they have the right to file an adjustment of status application. It doesn't mean that USCIS will not accept the case. They will accept the case. They will give you a receipt number. You can get your AOS EAD. It just means that if they finish the background checks and they've done everything, they cannot print the green card and approve the 485. They have to wait for the next fiscal year, right? But USCIS can still do the processing of the 485. They just can't approve it because there's no visa numbers available. Or for people to understand how the process works, the only thing that determines whether USCIS will take your case or not for the 485 is the visa bulletin and the priority date. Even if they say no visas available, if your priority date is current under the visa bulletin's priority dates, you can file a 485 and get the process going. But after you do your fingerprints and potentially an interview, or maybe they skip it, the last thing that the officer does is before they approve their case, they send a message in their system and they say, I want to know if there's a visa number for this case because I'm just about to approve it, and if they get a reply from DHS saying no, there's no visa numbers available, then the officer will basically just put the case aside and leave it pending, but they can't approve it yet, right? And then later, when there are visa numbers available, they have to go back to it, and then they can finally approve it and print your green card. So people shouldn't think, oh, somebody said visas are not available, so I'm not even going to apply, right? You should apply because you can at least get the process going, and you can at least get your EID, hopefully, right? And that might be helpful.
Wow, that's a great information, because a lot of people thought the same way, and I am one of them. Because whenever I see the unavailable, I thought, okay, so even though the date isn't current, they cannot do the I-485. So they can do the I-485 and get the EADs and advance parole. Those things are very good. Good to know. Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. So you just look at the visa bulletin and the USCIS chart that says, are they using dates of filing or final action dates? And if based on so right now they're using final action dates. And so just like the example that I just put it in the mail today, EB1A case with a priority date of 2018. So that means under the final action dates, they are current. And I just submitted Indian applicant, their spouse, and their daughter. 3 people. I just put it in the mail. It will be delivered tomorrow, and I'm expecting USCIS to just issue the receipt numbers and start the process, right? Even if they cannot get the green card this fiscal year, by the time the next fiscal year starts, the case will already be, further along with the background checks finished and everything, and hopefully they can then cut the processing time down and get to the finish line quicker rather than wait all this time for next year before they even file.
You are seeing the rest of the world chart, EB1 and EB2 current. So when the rest of the world become current, it is very good news for the most backlogged countries, right? In this case, India, isn't it?
Yes, we're also seeing the same for the family-based cases that, for example, for many years there was not enough visa numbers for the F2A, which is the spouses of green card holders, and now those cases seem to be moving much faster than in several years. So that's positive change. So that means if anybody gets a green card and then ends up getting married, the process is going to be faster now for their spouses.
Wow, that's good to know. This year, I believe they put a lot of strict measures on the green card applications, right? So it will create the more unused from the family base. What do you think about it?
I think so. Number one, this 75 country IV ban, meaning that anybody who's applying for employment-based or family-based immigrant visas through consular processing outside of the US, from 75 countries, people just haven't been able to get their visas. And some of those cases will come back once they, remove the ban, but some of those cases are not coming back. So there's just an opening there that is left unused. And then in addition, we had this 39 country adjudication pause that USCIS was not processing even 485s for many nationalities, things like that. So there's a lot of restrictions, right, this year that is going to influence what's happening next year. So some of those cases that were filed this year are still pending or will now move forward and maybe use up some numbers next year. But some of the people, they just end up giving up and leaving the country, right? And that means that next year they won't reapply. Those are just open numbers now that somebody else will get to use. So I think you're right that next year there's going to be at least similar movement like this year, or maybe even more because of increased visa number availability.
Yeah, makes sense, Henry. Last one question. If any person got their final action date, say example, if they have the EB2 final action date, now it's unavailable, right? But if the date is current in EB3, can they try to downgrade and try to move into the EB3 line?
If they are current under EB3, then they can change the underlying basis. So if you have to do the labor certification, for example, then that takes so long that by the time you get a result from the labor certification, the visa bulletin is going to be a whole different thing. So those kind of things only make sense for people if the employer was already doing both in parallel. to keep both options open, or if you have options between choosing one employer who did an EB2 for you and another employer who maybe did an EB3 for you. But if you're now starting from scratch and you have to do prevailing wage, by the time you get the prevailing wage, it'll already be 2027, right? Because it's taking so long. Then you do labor certification. Maybe that takes all of 2027 to get the labor cert. And then you finally apply for I-140 in 2028. Right, and who knows what the visa bulletin or even the law is going to be in 2028? We might have totally different categories or new policies by then. So it's really a gamble, I would say. So if there's no other option, or if you have multiple employers doing it, very good that you have more options. But if you're thinking about starting from zero now for a different EB2 or EB3, I would say it's just so time consuming that it's not worth it.
Wow. Thanks, Henry. So your points are always very helpful and very valid. And you shared a very good information about the I-485. That is really a new information for me and most of the viewers as well, I believe. Thanks for your time, Henry.
You're welcome. Always happy to be here. Talk to you soon.
Nandri.